And you're watching ConLink. With me is our next guest of honor from Indianapolis, Indiana, author, editor, community organizer, and more. Please welcome Maurice Broaddus. Hello, Maurice. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So, you don't just stick to one genre in writing, you cover a whole swath of them. You have science fiction works, fantasy, urban fantasy, horror, young adult. Are there any more that I'm missing there?
Let's see. Did we cover steampunk?
I forgot steampunk.
Steampunk,
Right.
and let's see. Well, I recently just floated the idea of a British cozy mystery to my agent. She about came through the internet to have my head. So yeah, we'll stop there.
Now, of those, do you have a favorite?
That's a good question. I mean, I came up as a horror writer, so like the first half of my career, easy, was just me writing horror. That was my first love, and that's how I broke into the writing scene and everything. Um, but these days, I'm trying to think I mean, horror still burns bright, but right now, I'm really tickled by the idea of science fiction. But I realized I was writing horror from a place of anger. Um, and when I'm writing science fiction, I'm writing it from a place of hope and from a place of just dreaming about possibilities. And
Yeah.
so I think that's why right now I'm just gravitating towards science fiction.
Then when did you make the transition to writing young adult novels?
I think I wrote the first draft of uh, of what would become Usual Suspects back in like 2012. Um, and at the time, it was just chronicling my sons, their journey through the educational system. I was also a substitute teacher at the time. I was the building sub at a couple of different schools. And so I actually sold them. I had stepped away from publishing for a little bit, but I came back in 2016, and then we sold the books. Now I'm a full-time teacher at a middle school, and some of the students are discovering that I'm a writer, and so they are, looking through my bibliography and like, oh, Mr. Broaddus, is there anything of yours that we can read? And I'm like looking at my bibliography, and remember I came up as a horror writer, so I'm looking at some of my titles and like, nope, nothing for you here. Let me get these other books out. So I started putting out these middle grade books to distract my students until they were ready for my other stuff. So this past year, I did my creative writing club at the school, and
Oh,
it's only the second time ever I've done the creative writing club. It's probably been 6 years since I did the first creative writing club, and it was partly inspired. There were two students that stuck out a lot to me. One was the original student who kind of cajoled me into doing it again because she came into my room one day and like handed me this book, and I'm like, "What's this?" She goes, "This is the book that I wrote when I was 12, and I just self published it." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna take you under my wing." so, so it started the creative writing club, and I told them, I said, "I'm gonna treat you like you're my peers, like my writing peers. So here are the kind of workshops I would put on for them." So I put them through all the paces of the kind of workshops I would do at any other place. And then, and halfway through, I'm like, man, are they even getting any of the things I'm saying right now? And then the final session is always them just reading the things that they've created during the course of their club, and then, daggone, to hear how they've internalized all these things and put them onto the page and let their imaginations take flight, and they just produce some of these beautiful and sometimes devastating pieces that I'm just like, oh man, I don't know why I wait so long between these clubs. So it's like, let me go ahead and start putting in the request. I'm doing this again next year.
how does that tie into your work with the Kepra Institute? Because you are also the resident Afrofuturist there.
And so what started off as basically a support program for a few young black men who were struggling in high school has ballooned into this multi-million dollar organization that still very much operates at the grassroots. The focus is still youth leadership development, and the focus is still about community wealth building and how do we create assets that lift all of us. And so the work is intertwined because the work is the same no matter where I go. It's all about people development. So if I'm a teacher, it's about people development. If I'm over at Kepler, it's about people development.
Now, speaking of development, you're you're working on a lot of writing projects.
Yeah, I try to keep my eye in as many fires as possible. Wait, is that the right analogy? Yeah, we're going with that one anyway.
You have
Um,
many irons in the fire. Yep.
all right, perfect. So I try to keep a lot going anyway, just 'cause I never know when things are going to pan out, and when things that I've planted a while back suddenly, start growing into something.
This will be your first time to the CONvergence convention in the Twin Cities. Am I correct
Hmm.
on that?
I've been hearing these legendary tales of convergence over the years because I have two friends, Lee Harris and Brian Keene, and they've been in my ear for a long time. Going, man, you have to make it to convergence. You no. Listen to me now. You have to make it to convergence. In fact, they both said it's their favorite con, and in fact, Lee even said it's the con I would go to. I will pay my own money to go to this con because this con is that amazing.
High
Absolutely.
praise. Thank you,
Yep.
Lee.
When I got the email invite, I'm just like, wait a second. And so then the first person I emailed was Lee. Before I even responded to the invitation, I was like, Lee, CONvergence. And he's like, did they invite you? I'm like, they invited me. He goes, you going? I'm like, I'm going now. He goes, have you responded yet? I have not. Let me go do that. So yeah, well, I was really excited to get the invite.
What is your favorite thing about cons?
Probably my favorite thing about conventions would be BarCon. That time when I was gonna say let your hair down, but apparently I've BarConned quite a bit.
Yeah.
But that space where you can just relax and just be with people, pretty in a really casual sort of way. Oh, these are the spaces where we make friends, right? And so then what keeps me coming back is like I want to see my friends.
What are some things that inspire you in your science fiction writing, in your horror writing, in your steampunk, your Afropunk,
Mm.
all of that?
It doesn't even matter the genre. The inspiration is always the same. It's always my community. It's always the people around me. Um, like I take for example my most recent sci-fi trilogy. Book one is Sweep of Stars, but that whole trilogy, when you boil it all down, it is literally what if the Kepler Institute was an intergalactic community? What could that look like?
Uh, so thank you, Maurice. I'm glad this worked out, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person, and looking forward to having you at your very first CONvergence.
So looking forward to it. Can't wait.
Can't wait either. Thank you for spending your time with us, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yep. See you soon.
And thank you all for joining us here with ConLink. I'm Gregory Parks. I'll see you for the next one.